Ick hit my previous streams, and the only reason I came back on here is because this was not meant to be a 6 hour long thing. Like, I really didn't want to make this a 2 day event. I should have known that this story would take a long time, and I probably maybe put too much thought or not enough thought into it. And a lot of it was build up, a lot of it was background. And so I also realized that although I enjoy the conversation and the interactiveness of Twitch, it's ultimately very derailing and very distracting, and is part of the reason it took so long. And I just needed to make it more clear that I just was trying to tell a story. It was not supposed to be super interactive. And so, especially in my state of premenstrual dysphoria, which I'm handling really well this month, and like actually doing pretty good, not overreacting or exploding as much as I would normally would, even if last night was rough. But I also started my stream by saying last night was rough, and that's why I wasn't streaming right. And so it feels like sometimes people are intentionally trying to distract or make excuses as to why it's okay when they do something, etc. I really don't give a shit. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Took the chat off the fucking screen. I'm honestly, it's like one thing when we're all together vibing, but I've literally just been trying to tell a story. And maybe it was, and I had to sit here. I ended the stream because I was like, maybe it was a bad decision. That's what I have to deal with the premenstrual dysphoria. Is like every month, no matter what I'm talking about, no matter what it is, I question it. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have done it different. Maybe I should delete it. I should probably get rid of this. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably. No shit. Dysphoria. Everything seems bad now. I fucked up. This was a mistake. That's what I struggle with every fucking month. Which, once again, this month I'm doing pretty good at handling. Better than usual. To the point where it's almost uncanny how good I've handled things this week. And so I can see when I haven't made my boundaries firm enough and when I need to cut people the fuck off. This is no different, right? This is no different. I had to cut y'all off. You were acting a fool. It was a mess of a night. Hey, this is such a weird night. I was trying to tell a story and I just was getting severely interrupted, and it was like the vibe was going really dark, and it was like, really glad you're making this about you, and I'm telling a very dark, brutal story right now. But it was taking too long, and I came back on because I'm like, whoa, I don't want to leave it unfinished necessarily. I was not trying to leave it cliffhanger, but I'm very much taken out of the mood of even wanting to share anymore. So I hid the two parts of the story that I already told. I just spent the last 5 hours talking about it, and I got so derailed by someone being so rude. Yeah, I wasn't. It just, you can see, I don't know if you can read the chat. I really don't know how Twitch works, but like, shit just got very derailed, and I was like, honestly, regretting a lot of my Twitch decisions at that point, where I was like, I guess I've been fooled again by people. Like, I don't know. It's just, it turned into a weird energy when I was trying to do something vulnerable and get to know people on a deeper level and express why this time of year is so special to me, and why I think it is, that the veil is so thin, and how I got into doing necromancy as tarot readings with the Halloween Oracle deck. That's what this story was ultimately about. And once again, people were just disruptive and making it about themselves. And the whole point is that I'm trying to help people. And when I do the tarot readings, it is about y'all. It is always about y'all. That's the whole point, right? And I can use my anecdotes, but at the end of the day, we're solving your problems, right? But this was my time to tell my story. I made it abundantly clear throughout the night that this is what I was doing. This is how I felt. I even mentioned it previously to the stream. So to be met with that certain kind of energy, it made me lose entire faith in everything, honestly, in that moment. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll just remove myself from the situation. And I'm coming back still a little undone, still a little undecided, because it's like, do you just carry on and do what you're doing, or take the derail as a sign that this was the wrong decision that you made? to share this story or to talk about this at all or to make it so long and to get so distracted along the way and not say anything until the last minute when it was too late. Okay, so I'm probably going to call it a night unwittingly, unhappily. Yeah. It's like people who are cool and cool and cool, and then they say whack stuff, and you're like, hey, can you please stop? And they don't. And it's like, cool. So we've had this great rapport for months on end. You've been super supportive, but actually you're just a douchebag, and you have no respect for the people who are streaming. You're like, I mean, it's like, it's not necessarily love bombing, but in a way, it's like when you act super nice and supportive just so you can like fucking use slurs and talk shit on someone's channel is like bizarre. Like nobody gets that kind of treatment. You're gonna get called out. You're gonna ruin it for everyone. It doesn't fly on my channel. It never has. It never will. I know I'm prone to reacting right now. So instead of going in and trying to assert my boundaries or keep going, I had to end the stream because I was like, yeah, no one's getting a rise out of me today. Sorry. Um, no, you can get the business, but like that's because it's fucking business, bro. Come on. Quit acting a fool. It makes me look bad that I will talk to these people and rep them and say their name in my streams just for them to turn around and say insulting shit. Threaten violence against people. Get the fuck off my channel, bro. That's not the approach we take over here, and you know it. No bueno at all. Sorry I took fucking 3 days off. You know, and it's like, don't just sit here and gas me up to gaslight me. What the fuck? So weird. And then it just, on a spiritual level, in like the sense of being a reader, it did make me wonder if what I had said was too much. So I took it down. I didn't delete it because some people were already watching it and know it existed and heard some of the story and maybe want, you know, to hear the end, and maybe I'll post it someday. Maybe I will never watch it. I can't rewatch my streams; they're too long. I used to on Instagram sometimes just to see how I was doing. I was doing good. Whatever. Um, the premenstrual dysphoric week is hard every month, and trying to get up and do this shit when I'm feeling like shit anyways is like a feat in itself. And to be disrespected while I'm doing it, oh my God, go to hell. Go to hell. Yeah. So I'm at the point where it's like I am trying to go out on a good note. Like I'm trying to go to sleep on a good note and end like it's not a reading, end my story on a good note. But it was like I was opening up about my NDE and like my attempt because I have not in the last 3 years. I didn't never told anyone what happened. I just tell people I broke a lot of bones and I was hospitalized and then like contact with a ton of people that it's hard. I can't just keep repeating the story. I was going to tell it one time, you know, and I took too long. I guess I indulged in too much conversation and then 5 hours went by. Thank you. I don't know what you mean by that because the delay in the chat, but like that's yeah, so I had to remove myself and remove the content I made tonight because it's like, yo, if this is the direction this is going and then whatever I said was wrong. If this is the results that I'm getting, then what I said was not the right thing to say. So I came on here just to like kind of get my personal vibe back up. I imagine it's not going to be much later. I've already been streaming for 5 hours and it was for nothing essentially because I had to hide the videos because it just got too whack in the chat. Probably should have banned the person already, you know, and it's like I don't want to just keep giving people chances. I'm actually over that phase of my life, and it was like 3 strikes in a row, but only the second time they acted out on my channel, and so I feel like the third strike is like if you do it again, you are banned. I made that clear. It's very sad. Oh yeah, yep. It wasn't until support groups that I started and talking about it out loud. That's why I was telling the story. Because I have PMDD and because none of these doctors will treat it, I keep getting into these fucking accidents. And my mental state is so bad. Like, 12 days out of the month. And then I have like anxiety 3 days out of the month. And then I'm bleeding 3 days out of the month. And it's like, there's no relief. Even the fucking 5 days I'm insanely horny and willing to risk it all, anything for nothing, anyone. Like, it's a nonstop cycle. And so I was telling this story about how, like, yeah, And even though, like, every time I've been hospitalized, it's like about to be on my period or starting my period, they just are like, oh, you must be bipolar. You must be schizophrenic. You must have PTSD, which I do, which is part of PMDD, right? They think you can't even have PMDD unless you have PTSD. They constantly diagnose me as bipolar and having borderline personality disorder and being fucking schizophrenic and having psychosis and having depression. Yeah, we're talking right now. This is why I was telling the story that I was telling, because I almost fucking died during my premenstrual state twice. And even though both times I had literal fucking evidence of this with my period tracker, that my moods were cyclical and happening at the same times every month, they still will not diagnose me with PMDD. Why? Let's go over the facts. One, they make way more money if they convince me that I'm mentally ill, because that means I'm buying prescription drugs and in fucking therapy. Hey, y'all. Two, if they diagnose me with a mental illness, of course, if I commit a crime, if I apply for a certain job, if I am trying to get anything in life, well, I'm mental. You know how easy it is for someone who is literally mentally on paper? Think about Britney Spears and how she lost her autonomy and how she was under a conservatorship and she was like a millionaire, right? Someone like me, if I ever had assets, well, oh, you know what? She's crazy. You think I'm going to just sign down that I'm bipolar because you think that when I've been doing research on myself and been in this body for 30 fucking years? Fuck you. Honestly, think again, right? Because PMDD is considered a disability. And so if I was diagnosed with PMDD and I was on paper, one, I'd be able to get assistance. Two, my jobs would legally have to accommodate. But the only thing they will diagnose me with is bipolar or schizophrenia or bipolar fucking borderline personality disorder. And when I bring up PMDD to therapists, doctors, counselors, nurses, literally anytime I talk to a medical professional, despite the fact that I have been in the hospital for it before, despite that I have almost died from it before, right? Still nothing. No matter how much evidence I have. You know what they do? They usually laugh and they say, I believe you. And they say, of course you do. And then they say, well, I want to run more blood work and find out what it really is. Okay. I'm cool. I'm done. I'm no longer talking about this. Right? I'm taking matters into my own hands. I have been for years because there's no help, there's no solutions. Yeah, it's fucked up. And I know a lot of people who have been diagnosed, but if you don't go to a doctor who suggests it before you do, even though on Google it says it's self-diagnosable, and I brought that up to the last doctor I saw, and that was at the point she laughed at me and wanted me to come back for blood work and put me on an SSRI, which is an antidepressant, which honestly, what the fuck good does that do? This isn't depression. The fuck is wrong with you? You know? It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's such a loop. And I've literally almost died. And I've been tracking my period for 5 years and then backtracked my cycle an additional 3 years. And that's how I found out that every time I met this person who I thought was my twin flame, that was the whole other aspect of the story, I was premenstrual, dysphoric, making shit up, paranoid, hearing voices, getting intrusive thoughts, having violent visions, having doubts like I did with the channel. Spent 5 hours telling this fucking story and just deleted it. For what? Because I'm insecure. And if somebody wants to challenge it, I know. And I use Clue, which is a German app. So they're like, bro, we literally do not give a fuck what an American tells us. We will never go back. And we're not going to let them take you back either. So it's like, thank you, Germany. So highly recommend the Clue app. Doesn't matter, though. I tell them I've tracked my cycle. They don't look at it. They don't give a shit. It's so much less lucrative to diagnose you with something that helps you benefit, right? Because my jobs, you know how many jobs I've quit or been fired from for fucking freaking out because the high stress situations I'm in, and stress management is like the only combat of PMDD, and it's stress that triggers you during that premenstrual week into violent episodes of complete rage or absolute mental fucking breakdowns. You know how many jobs I've lost to that? And legally, if it was just on fucking paper that this is what was wrong, because it's cyclical, and that's the difference between bipolar and PMDD, is bipolar is all the same symptoms, but it's random. PMDD is the same time every month. your 28, your 21 to 28 day cycle. Yeah, fuck yeah, especially because this isn't really what I was talking about, but it is, and that's why I was telling the story that I was telling. Because this shit is real as fuck. And I'm sick of struggling. And this month I'm doing so good keeping it in. I snapped a little bit last night, but not to the level I normally do. And I am really proud of myself. And I am sick of being spoken down to. I'm sick of being told, I'm kidding. I'm sick of being poked. When it's like, no, I've come way too far. You have no idea who I am. I show you what I want to. And I am very fucking real on this channel. But it is a fraction of who I am. Please refrain from testing it. Period. For fuck's sake. So, it's just so stressful. It's just all like, yeah. So I've always worked really high stress environments, but like, once again, if I would have been diagnosed with PMDD 20 years ago when I started my period and had all the same symptoms, yeah, 20 years I've been dealing with this cycle. Some people get it later in life and they say it's because of trauma, and since I guess my trauma came from childhood, I had it since my first fucking period, and I think even before it actually started, I was on the same cycle because we are born, right? It just develops over time. Born with everything we've got. They say that our grandmothers are born with everything we've got, or whatever. Like when our mothers are in the womb, they have all the DNA coding. Bro, I'm blocking you. We are literally talking about the menstruation cycle, and you want to come on here as a fucking man and say that I'm stuck in a cycle after this whole night? You're getting blocked. I'm not even sorry. I gave you too many chances. Goodbye. We are not about to fucking do that. We are not about to let men keep telling us these things. That's what I'm saying. It was like, oh, do you exercise to get rid of your cramps? Who told you that works? A man? A fucking doctor? Like, these doctors listen to jack shit that we say? They could give a study and be like, so is this making you feel better? Not really. Haha, cool. Glad that's working. What the fuck? What the fuck? And we get no credit for what we get put through. We get no credit for what our bodies go through. We get talked down to, we get made fun of, we get mocked, we get fucking screwed over, disrespected. Yeah. And it's like we try to talk about it, we try to express it. What good does that do if everybody's going to shoot it down and say, quit talking about it? It's all in your head. Yeah, they do think that PMDD is actually linked to things like PTSD, ADHD, and autism, which all do affect your cognitive abilities in your brain. So I agree, it is in my head. That's where mental issues are, right? Yeah, I've never learned jack shit about PMDD from doctors. I am in a support group on Facebook for PMDD. And I've learned a lot talking to other people who deal with it. And the whole unanimous decision is that nothing works across the board. And it is an individual journey of hell that will last your entire lifetime. You should. And I'm also on the PMDD Reddit, which is, they're like very different energies where like the Facebook group seems to be more emotional venting. It's great. No. Like in a community driven way. It's very more like empowering and whatnot. No, menopause is not a relief, and hysterectomies. Like a lot of people have said, yeah, I got everything removed, got my ovaries removed, and it just like creeps back in. Don't know. And menopause is not better. And then menopause still lasts for like 10 years, and it makes all women miserable or whatever. So it's like, it's really like healing your trauma definitely helps if you have any, and also treating your ADHD helps if you have it. Because it's not, they find like, oh yeah, nope, I lost all hope getting in these groups, because it's like, yeah, no, I was desperate to get help from doctors. And again, that's why the doctors would rather say, no, you're just bipolar, because they can treat bipolar. They don't know how to treat PMDD. They don't know what causes it. And I personally think it's fucking aliens. So I guess I'm going to finish my goddamn story after this fucking ad break. Okay, I don't know how a whole minute went by already, but I gotta grab some water. So I will be right back. Okay, yeah, I'm super happy to hear that. I grabbed water and my bong. So I am supposed to be starting my period in like 3 days, and this is like one of the best times I've handled this premenstrual dysphoria week. Like, it's been getting gradually better and worse simultaneously. It's phases. It's literally phases. I know it'll come back again. Like I said, they link a lot of it to like ADHD, trauma, autism, because they're literally at a loss for what causes this. But for me, those suicidal thoughts that come with having PMDD have caused me to attempt my life. But it's this, if you know, you know. And if you don't, I hope you never do. Because it is literally so cursed. And you descend into hell. And there's like no other way to describe it. And that's why when I was talking about this like month long hallucinatory trip that I was on by incident, by accident, thought my third eye was just like open and may have been drugged. That's what like I spent the last 5 hours trying to explain. But like, um, even without all the mental anguish of PMDD, you still get all the symptoms of PMS, regardless of how you feel mentally. So it's just like, it's just this fucking internal struggle. And they studied a lot of people who aligned with the symptoms of PMDD and noticed that a lot of the time the hormone levels were normal. Isn't that terrifying? And they think it's actually the brain's inability to cope with the normal change and fluctuations in hormones more than it is increased fluctuations of the actual hormones. In the same way that sometimes your body cannot process too much serotonin, aka overstimulating, essentially. That's why they link it to other mood disorders or cognitive disabilities. Oh my god, dude, I can't imagine it. I am so sorry. I think it's aliens. I really do. I want to be able to tell y'all why. So I guess since we're talking about this, I'll tell you what happened in 2014. I feel like I've recently talked about this, the 2018 experience, but I don't think you were here yet. And I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you to watch all my streams until you find it. 2018, I was I had like 2 periods in a month. Yeah, I didn't talk about it for years, and it wasn't until these last few months where it's like, why am I literally walking on eggshells and being like, oh well, periods are gross, so I'm not gonna bother anyone, when it's almost killed me several times. It has literally almost killed me, because the thing that I noticed is like, when I eat less, I cramp less. When I cramp less, I'm in a better mood. When I'm in a better mood, I'm more functional. And all of a sudden I haven't eaten in 3 days, and it's like, oopsies, I'm gonna die because I'm also expelling blood, losing nutrients, not being able to sleep. There have been so many nights where I'm about to start my period and I'll be up till 10 a.m. with anxiety, rolling around in my bed since for 6, 8 hours that I just lay there like, I wish I could sleep. And then you're like popping fucking Claritins like it's nobody's business, just trying to make yourself pass out. Yeah. Can I kiss you? Just kidding. I did, though. In my mind, it was bad. We were hugging, but not like a kiss like humans. I don't know what you are. It was just our energies entwined in a way that feels like a kiss. Okay. So, anyways, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So, it's 2017. I was like mentally institutionalized because I went through this thing where, like, I had a moment, a Truman Show moment, and then it turned into dysphoria. And this was before I knew what PMDD was. So the dysphoria always felt more genuine to me because I was like, well, this is how I feel. I'm really spiritual. I'm really in tune. This is genuine thoughts. And then it was like, no, dude, you literally just get like fucked up the week before your period. Didn't find out till 2019 what PMDD was. And even then, I barely knew anything about it and was just like, well, I have it. I don't know yet. I'm like working on it. I'm trying to work with doctors to diagnose me, and no one ever would. So 2017 is when I, thank God, started tracking my period. Like February 2017, I got admitted to the psych ward. April 2018, and my cycle was a week late that month, so my dysphoria doubled. That's the thing when your period changes cycles. It's like you get 12 days of dysphoria no matter how it goes. If your period's late, sometimes you'll get like an extra week, but if your period's early, you're still getting 12 days. You just have less good days. It's insane. It's insane. And the fact that we have been told to minimize it, work through it, like literally physically go to work and like it's not a big deal and to stop bitching. It literally took us creating a machine that emulates our pain and putting it on men's bodies and simulating the cramps to get them to be like, wow, maybe that does hurt. After we've been doing this for how long, genetically speaking? Come again? Why do you think we ever give a shit about your opinion? Wait, though. Why did y'all give a shit about their opinion? How many women before us? How many fucking subservient assholes who called themselves women before us said, well, he said it's not that bad, so I guess it's not that bad. Gross. Gross. White woman's ancestry. You know what I mean? Literally, the last doctor I saw was a woman. She laughed in my face when I said that PMDD is self-diagnosable. She said, haha, I bet it is. I'm going to go get your paperwork and I'll be right back. And then she had someone else drop off my paperwork and I never saw her again and I'm not going back. No, even women. My therapist, who I saw for a year and a half, literally said, I believe you, when I told her I have PMDD. And then yeah, you can swear. And then I just don't appreciate people who don't make it clear what their ethnicity is using ethnic slurs. Oh, yeah, you can just say cunt next time. She kind of was. I've had a lot of doctors be like that. Like even my therapist, who I saw for a year and a half, and I explained the entire depth of PMDD and all my trauma and everything, like really opened up with her. And she told me from the very beginning, like she thought my hallucinatory experience was drugs, and that's why I realized that I may have been drugged, and that's why I had this like weird trip thing that I almost died at the end. And then she thought that I was not. She specifically said, I don't think you're bipolar. And so I talked to her and I was like, yeah, I think it's PMDD. I actually think, if anything, I have ADHD. And I would consider that. And she's like, yeah, it seems like you do kind of have symptoms of ADHD. I'd be like, right, but it's really the PMDD that I'm trying to get help with. And she would say stuff like, oh, you seem manic right now. I'm like, yeah, I'm ovulating. I told you that it definitely is very much like mania. She'd be like, oh, you seem to be getting depressed again. I'm like, yep, my period's going to start in a week. And after a year and a half of that, she said, I think maybe you are bipolar too. I'm glad that's what you got a degree for. Did you even get a degree? Have you been listening? Have you been listening? Okay, did I just get gaslit by my own therapist? That was clever. Love that for you. Like, I don't know. We seemed to get along. It was cool, but I also try to, like, break up with her a little too many times. I'm not even trying to put anyone on blast through this whole experience. And that's why it was really hard and took me so long to talk about what I was talking about and to tell the stories I was telling. It's very confusing. It's very convoluted. It's very much involves so many different people who I have no reason to associate with me, right? Like they've never said anything. It's all mostly spiritual, but I do think that these fucking whack ass things make us closer to God or whatever. It's like when you think about it, when we expel blood and nutrients and we're like delirious and like, a ghost of ourselves, when we get all pale and we have no iron, we're on the verge of death. And I think that is a lot of power in that. It's a sacrifice. It's a blood sacrifice every fucking month, dude. And that's fucking on everything. So, funnily enough, me too. That's what happened. When was it? Mine was November 2018. I wasn't on anything. Wasn't on blood thinners. I was not really doing much at all. I was like single, coming out of a hoe phase, like wasn't even having sex, wasn't really doing drugs, not really drinking. I didn't go to the ER for a fucking week, bleeding out, didn't know what to do. Wasn't until literally like a 36-hour migraine and bleeding on someone's chair at an hour-long appointment that I was like, I need to go to the hospital right fucking now. Yeah. Dude, they're so bad. They don't care if we die, is what we have to just like come to terms with. They literally probably benefit more if we die. Or like it's less work for them if we die. They literally could give a fuck less. Especially about women. And even more specifically, especially about non-white women. You know? It's fucked up. Oh, yeah. On my accident, they had to give me blood. But I don't know. When I was in the hospital, they may, like, for my period thing, they may have had to give me blood, too. In November 2018, I got 2 periods. Okay, so 2017, like I said, I was starved myself out. I got very dysphoric because of the PMDD, and it was considered attempted suicide because I wasn't eating. So I didn't physically harm myself, but I was just like petrified, paralyzed in bed, not speaking, not eating, not taking care of myself. Got taken to the emergency room, psych, and they were like, we're going to recommend a stay at the psychiatric ward. And I was like, well, if you're recommending it, I'm going to decline because I'd rather just get a therapist and like go home. I took a really long nap. I just needed sleep. Thanks for the food. And they were like, yeah, okay, I'll be right back. And then they sent people to literally put me in a straitjacket and strap me to the fucking bed and carry me away in an ambulance. Because they said I recommend it. And I said, okay, that's great. You just used the word recommend. You could have told me that, hey, I am telling you that this is your best option, and if you don't, you might be deemed unsafe and get a fucking involuntary on your record. They don't tell you that. They trick you and trap you. So cool, now you're strapping me down and I got an ambulance ride when you could have just told me it was forcible? You forced me in it. I was 25 years old. And you want me to fucking sign up with the government that I'm bipolar? Fuck off. I have 5 years plus worth of data to suggest otherwise. I am overplaying small, I'm overplaying dumb, I'm overplaying victim, I'm over sucking ass to people who are ass at their jobs, at their empathy skills. I'm so done. I am so done. Yeah, and of course that's why he's like, yeah, here's a blood thinner and put your fucking feet up. He literally did not give a fuck if you died. A hysterectomy. That's the thing I've learned tragically enough from these groups that I'm in. I'm very sorry that happened to you. It's so very fucking cruel. A lot of what modern medicine in the Western world has come from is when black women were still slaves and doctors would use them like the house slaves to operate on if they were pregnant. And that's why they just told themselves they don't feel pain. They're not human, you know. They're just slaves. They can't feel pain. We've been beating the shit out of them all this time. And they did fucked up shit to these sometimes pregnant women. And that's like where a lot of what they know about modern medicine. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. And people don't believe it, and they don't believe that it's a problem, and they think like we're just being dramatic. Yeah, no thanks. Like I'm good. I'm good. I only had one male OBGYN and he's been my favorite. And the only reason he didn't remain my OBGYN is because he was specifically oncology. So I only got to see him because I had abnormal cells, but once they deemed them non-cancerous, he allowed me to do a yearly checkup with him, but by the time I changed insurances, there was just like there was no way for us to pull it off. He was the best. I loved him, but I didn't know what PMDD was when I was seeing him, and I genuinely believe that he would have listened to me because he always did. And he taught me more about the female reproductive system than I had ever learned in school or from my female OBGs ever. I personally think I agree with you, but in this regard, I've dealt with more female doctors, so it's just a ratio, I think, where it's like I've just had more female doctors, you know? And so, like, yes, the one doctor in my whole life that stands out, kind of, I don't want to, like, embarrass him by saying his name, but he knows that was my dude. He let me be a goofball in the fucking pre-op room and was just like, very cool of you, you know? He was a good dude. Um, Yeah, that's the thing. It's really tricky. And like, I'm not gonna lie, my mom works in the medical field, and so I had a personal connection to him, and so I may have gotten special treatment. But he did definitely seem like the type of dude who was like dedicated to his work. He had like lost women in his family to ovarian cancer, so he literally like dedicated his life to it and helping treat people and catching it. You know what I mean? So I could tear up talking about him. He's very heroic, and that was the only. I think that's the only reason I could really identify with a man in that regard. Is like he was personally affected by this, and like it was his whole purpose and mission, and it showed in his care and in his comfort level, where he was so like not creepy. Like he was always like I don't know how to explain that he would be like, don't start getting weird, okay? Like I'm a professional, but not in a weird way, because he was just like himself, and he'd be like, if you were like too nice to him, he's like, okay. Anyways, like very almost mechanical, but very much with the bedside manners. Yeah, but I don't see him anymore, and I wish I did. Like that's what I'm saying. Why is it so hard? Where among all of us, I've had one good OBGYN, and we've all almost died. That's the thing. I had to end up going to the ER after a week. And granted, like, not every specialized doctor is on the floor at the ER, but hospitals are 24 hours. I literally saw so many doctors because I went in. I was like, yo, I've been bleeding for a week. I had a ton of pictures. I would sit in the bath. This happened for days on end. I was sitting in the bath, and every time I stood up, fucking clots, bro. Regular size clots, in case there's any like men watching this right now, regular size clots are like usually like I would say this big, you know, like these are normal clot size. Mine are usually more like this big, you know, because I have a heavy flow. Okay, when I was when I was in the emergency room after bleeding for a week, it's because every hour I would dump a clot this big, 3 of them at a time every hour for 48 hours straight after I had been bleeding for 5 days. There was at one point I had a migraine right before. Clots this motherfucking big? This motherfucking big. And I went to the emergency room and they gave me an ultrasound, a transvaginal ultrasound, a blood test, a piss test, a fucking CAT scan. You know, I was seen by a pelvic exam. They tried to give me a PAP, but there was too much blood. And after an entire night, and literally dozens of doctors, they had to keep calling different floors and stuff. Where they're like, what is this? Who, you know, and I requested my doctor, and they're like, he's not here. He actually, I think, was. I feel like he showed up and was like, I don't know. Like, it was nuts, okay? And in the end, no answer. They said we couldn't find any abnormal cysts, abnormal cells. There's no physical damage. There's no sign that this should be happening right now. They gave me a pregnancy test because it seemed like a miscarriage, but miscarriages, you still have the pregnancy hormone that would, I think they must have. My hemoglobin, the average person's hemoglobin is like 13, and mine dropped to like a 9 or a 6 or something, like 9 and dropping. So, like, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I'm going to run my 40-minute ad because I do it every 20 minutes. I totally am so engrossed in this conversation that I almost didn't even flinch. Okay. I ate more off-brand fucking Takis while I was gone. Um, okay. So, PMDD ruining lives one fucking cycle at a time. I'm thinking they must have given me blood. I was pretty out of it because my face was fucking white. My hemoglobin was an abnormally, like, unhumanly low. If they didn't give me blood, they gave me something to boost my. I think they made me like maybe take iron. They like maybe eat something weird. It's hard to remember. It was pretty intense, but there was no solution. They had no answer. They were just like, we have no idea why this is happening to you, but we can give you these hormones and the bleeding should stop. And it never happened again. Sometimes I occasionally get a clot that size, like one and done, or a clot like half that size, but never happened since. They just whole ass said, don't know, good luck. What do you even do? What do you even do? You take it upon yourself to make it your whole ass journey in life's work to figure out why the fuck this happens. And honestly, bro, when I tell people that story, when I'm like, yeah, doctors fucking had nothing, no answers, gave me some hormones to take for a week. And you know what everyone who I told that story to said? Aliens. That's where I got this from. Other people listened to my experience and they were like, aliens, bro. And I was like, well, I have always been open to the idea of extraterrestrial life. And I think it's honestly ignorant to think we're the only life forms in this universe. I suppose I didn't really factor in that these theories that I believe in could actually apply to my own life. Because there's no earthly fucking answer why I had afterbirth. That was the other thing. I was talking to this mom a few months ago, literally earlier this year, and I told her this story. And she's like, the only time I've seen blood like that is afterbirth. Okay, so where is the baby? Where is the baby? Why did I have afterbirth when I was never, well, I was pregnant once and aborted that shit 10 years prior to this happening? Where is the baby? Why did I have afterbirth? I am but a vessel. Like, there's really hardly any other way to explain it. Like, it is mental. And then on top of it, like the intrusive thoughts and the violent visions and like the fucked up things, the paranoia, like being in two places at once. Like, yeah, all roads point to aliens, especially because my last really major fallout, October 2019 to November 2019, the month-long fucking trip where maybe I got drugged, I don't know, didn't eat or sleep or really hydrate myself for a month, and it got really bad and I almost died. They actually had to take a cup from out of me, like because I was on my period at the time. And they still didn't diagnose me with PMDD. Yeah.
boggles the mind. 5 years worth of data. For what? If I cannot consult my health with my doctors, for what? They're almost as bad as like the cops, bro. Almost worse. They ask for access to your medical history and then just are like, you're a mental patient. Oh my God, I am admitting to you that I used to use drugs and now you're literally trying to prescribe me drugs and then calling me mental? Excuse you. Fuck off. I'm sorry your family had enough money to send you to fucking med school or that you put yourself into debt to prove that you are worthy or important or somehow inherently better than anyone else because you save lives when honestly you have blood on your hands. Blood on your hands. The whole fucking industry does. I don't want to fucking hear it anymore. And in some states, holistic medicine is straight up illegal. Riders on the storm, into this house we're born. Jim Morrison's on my list. Any requests for any public figures that you want me to channel during the month of October are open. Officially, I've got 15 slots left. Opened up the floor to Instagram, so feel free to make suggestions and I will throw them on the list for you. But I've bonded with the aliens since then. And yeah, so my trip experience, here's the thing. I've said this on my channel before, and I think it's commonly believed in the spiritual realm that when you are fucked up or somehow any type of inhibitors, you're easier to inhibit. So if you're really tired, if you're delirious, if you're under the influence, if you are unconscious, if you are this and that, you're easier to inhibit by demons, ghosts, aliens, whatever is trying to possess you. It's easier to take over you and take control of you when you are inebriated, right? So I may have been drugged. It's a toss-up. I probably will make those 2 streams visible again, but I know it was a mess. It was just the wrong vibe was working with me, like the conversation that I was trying to have while telling this very kind of tragic story. It just like it wasn't aligning, so it took way longer and it was probably a little more detailed, maybe even a little more sassy than it should have been. And it wasn't until this stream that you resonated with the PMDD that it really struck me that I forgot that that's why I was telling the story. Because I asked myself for the last 3 days, why did I say that I was going to do this? Because of course my period's going to drop in like 3 more days. So for the last 3 days that I haven't been streaming, I've been nervous about this night. And now it's so late. I've already been at this for 6 hours. I'm up now, though. I'm wide awake. I'm worked the fuck up. I am trying to get through this. I'm sick of the sleepless nights. I'm sick of the random anxiety. I'm sick of the fucking cramps. I'm sick of the fucking blood. Do you know how traumatizing it is to see blood when you have had some seriously bloody injuries, like traumatic events? I am so sick of being re-traumatized every time I use the toilet. And then people don't understand, oh, if you have to pee, just go. Yeah, I really don't want to right now. I really am having an intrusive fucking thought of violence against myself that I don't even know how in my wildest imagination someone who doesn't even watch horror movies could think of. No thanks, bro. And to having dealt with it for 15 plus years and not knowing what the hell PMDD was, and everybody saying you must be schizophrenic or bipolar or something, you depressed bitch. Like, how did no doctor for 20 years, why do you ask when our cycle starts every time we go? Why do you ask the flow of it? For funsies? For funsies? What the fuck, bro? What the fuck have they been doing to us? Because they know they don't got shit on these aliens. They're like, man, they're the ones in control of your bodies. We just make laws to appease them. It was part of the 1947 Roswell Agreement. Am I fucking Eisenhower right now? Bro. He's dead, right? Wasn't he president in 1947? Or was it later? Oh my God, what just came out of my mouth? I didn't think this is the direction that it was going in. That was Eisenhower. He regrets it, but he had no choice. He had no fucking choice. He had no choice. He was back against the wall. They had nothing like we do now. There was no fighting. They forced him to sign it. It was a pretty decent portrayal in that American Horror Story 6-episode thing. It wasn't well made, but his portrayal and his situation, it's very much like that. It's like, what do you do when you're backed into a corner? Mhm. Hell yeah. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm really happy to get this off my chest because I have been suppressing it and curbing it and coping with it, and everybody's kind of like testing my patience. Listen, I am trying to find inner peace right now. I am Tyler Durden in therapy in here. Imagine Tyler Durden in here, sitting on a fucking couch, all banged up, you know? Did it to myself, okay? Leave me alone. I am in a garden with John Lennon somewhere. Shut up. Who do you think you are talking to? You're talking to all of them. Listen, anything you say to me, they all hear it. Anything you say about me, they all hear it. I'm not really sure why I was gifted the power of necromancy, but I am glad I was. And if I gotta shed some blood, then I gotta shed some blood. And I long since accepted that. But that does not change the fact that this medical industry still sucks. That does not change the fact that insurance is still a scam. It doesn't change the fact that the healthcare systems in many countries, not just my own, are fucking horseshit. Just because I have accepted my spiritual journey does not mean that we have to accept the life that we're being given. Correct. But there could be, yeah, some influence that we have yet to really fully realize or understand. And it's been so coming to a head for me where it's like I joke a lot, but it's like it's all been leading back to aliens the whole time. And it's so funny, especially because we were talking twin flame journeys, and at the beginning of those readings for me was just February. It was like Valentine's weekend, probably, specifically, where I pulled out my mystery deck, which I have reserved for guided messages from gods, goddesses, guides, and galactics. And I went to do a reading with that deck around Valentine's Day, and it was like, no, I mean, you're doing a twin flame reading. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, doing a twin flame reading. And I'm like, please no. Like, I always thought that shit was so corny. It was so stupid. It was so, like, you know, I'm so romantic and a poet, and I brag about being in love all the time and people being in love with me all the time. And there's, like, all these Fuckboy Academy, Heartbreak Hotel, blah, blah, blah. However, I was like, nah, that shit's fucking corny, fam. No, I'm corny, okay? I do twin flame readings. But what I learned in that was that, yeah, the reason that that's the thing. If I was going to do twin flame readings, wouldn't you think the pink one, right? Or even have sexual magics that I don't use on the channel because they're graphic. So you would think that having already used those cards, that's when the twin flame readings would come up. But no, it wasn't until I had a fucking galactic deck that it came up. So these connections sometimes we have. The human level, the soul level, and the fucking space level, basically. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to remain human, because honestly, I could not sit here and fucking look you in the face and say that I recommend this shit to anyone. Would never. Appreciate that I'm doing it. Holy fuck. Please do not follow me down this road. It is so hard. But I'm doing it so that less of us have to struggle through it, right? By God. And let bygones be bygones, right? Can't take it. My heart breaks all the time. The pain. Thank you. It's been a real struggle. There's been like virtually no payoff, but I just, I'm the hope sitting at the bottom of the box. Because other than me, there is none. Yeah. I'm releasing the shit. You know what it is for me? I'm very easily guilted, but not easily shamed. So it's easy for me to say, fuck you, fuck your opinion, I'm out of here. But then it's harder for me to be like, should I have been nicer? Should I have taken their opinion more seriously? Where like in the moment, I won't shy away from the situation. But the guilt, it's guilt for me because I'm Catholic, right? Yeah, the shame thing was never really my scene. I find that the less mentally capable I am, the more shameful I am, and that's how I know, that it's not a good headspace, because like I'm very shameless. I've always been pretty shameless. My family and friends have always kind of related to the show Shameless, though I haven't seen it, so I'm not really sure what I'm missing, and I'm not really sure I'd want to see. Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. I am defiant and resilient. I have released guilt and shame from my life. Let's just speak who we want to be from now on. I think that's part of the point. We're trying to process what's happened, but it's like we gotta stay in the present and say, I was guilt and shamed, you know? And I think it's like maybe not lying, but manifesting. And I think that's hard for someone like me because I like to be honest about everything. But sometimes you got to trick yourself into a new reality and speak your truth in the sense that you just believe your own, not delusions necessarily, but it's how you create a positive life is saying it's positive, right? And we've seen this, kind of not proven time and time again, but we've seen this method used time and time again across cultures and religions. And it's, um, seems to be a certain kind of healing that comes with it. I don't think it's as simple as the words. It's got to have actions and weight, and you can't lie about other things in life, especially not for gain, in order for it to work that way. Like you can't just lie about everything just because you're trying to speak new things into your world. It's about addressing the past, realizing the present and rejoicing in the present and realizing the future as it comes to realization, materialization, reality, right? So I kind of do want to tell you about my accident. That was the whole point of this stream, but like I said, it was just the wrong crowd and I didn't realize it until it was much too late. And so I've already told half the story, but it was really like in the first segment, thank you. You seem like you are too, and I really appreciate it. You don't understand. It's like, maybe you do understand. PMDD is super isolating. It's like you could be a bitch to the people that love you because you just want them to prove that they love you, and they don't know that because you're just being mean, but you're paranoid that everyone's out to get you, and it's the fucking Truman Show. Oh my God. What do you want? What do you want? Sorry, I did not mean to freak out, but this is your karma. When was this account made? 25 seconds ago. Jesus fucking Christ. Who is this? Pico is not that mad. I'll just block this account too. Why the fuck do people give a fuck so much? Is it a whisper? What? No, it's the person that just followed us. The account name is This Is Your Karma, and the account was created 1 minute ago, and they followed me 45 seconds ago. So, like, what is my karma? Banning someone being rude to me in the chat. I'm not going through this again. Let's roll an ad break. We'll do a little BRB, take 10, and figure out where we're at. However, that is not to say they never do. Okay? And Tyler Durden don't like to be played with. It's really, I'm learning to be untriggered by things, but sometimes I just want to let him walk free. You know what I mean? Scary. But I really hate fighting other times. the month. So it's like, ugh, I don't want to be that person because I'm not committed to being that person. You're a Scorpio, right? I'm going to light a Scorpio incense. Right? You are? Yeah. I have a pretty good fucking memory, and that's why I don't like when people fucking try to question it. I think I've proven myself reliable enough up here, and people see it on the stream. Caught somebody the other day. I was like, hey, you've been here before. I thought you followed me last time. He's like, damn, I didn't think you'd remember. I remember a lot. That's why when I tell these stories about, like, perhaps I was drugged, I can recount everything. This month of my life, I can recount it. It's very hard to put it in words. It was just so insane, mentally taxing, just training and deprivation at its fucking worst, you know? So, earth, wind, fire, and air. We may look bad, but we don't care. We ride the wind, we feel the fire to love the earth. It's all I desire. I don't know. We're the Hex Girls and we're gonna put a spell on you. No, it's literally Scorpio. I'll tell you the sense. I'm a Hex Girl and I'm gonna put a spell on you. It is citrus passion and orange blossom icing. Smells really good. Really, really good. Yes. So anyways, BMDD's a fucking bitch and I'm a bigger bitch. Let's go. What have ya? Maybe I will then, you know, and that's the thing. When I get derailed, it's not even that I take it personally or that I'm so triggered. It's like, ooh, if this is where this led, maybe I said too much. Maybe I did say the wrong thing. Maybe I should take a second and calm down and think about what I'm saying and what this conversation is truly about. And when we peeled it back at the beginning of this day, right, at the beginning of this stream, you and I connected and realized, yep, this is bigger than both of us or all of us, and it needs to be talked about and addressed so we can move forward. And part of me addressing it is to say that, yes, I feel like I met my twin flame like 11 years ago on Friday the 13th. Come on, bro. It's literally the most romantic thing that's ever happened to me, and I was completely fucking oblivious to it. And now it's over, and I've let it go so many times. And it always comes back to it, because sometimes romantic is just, you know, of Roman culture, which was pretty gay anyway. So I wouldn't, you know, trip about the you know, physical aspects so much of romance and love. Ew. No, you have 8 months left. What is this? Okay, this account was created February 2021. This is creepy, right? Is that a death sentence? I mean, I've been saying it, and I'm so sorry. I do want to live, and now that I finally do, I'm getting death threats, and it's like, that kind of does make sense. It just seems weird, right? What's that about? Right after the other one, this is your karma. You have 8 months left. Like, what is this? LOL, but like, what? Like, what the fuck? I'm so kind of confused. I'm sorry. People react so poorly when you put up your, like, you can communicate your needs and your standards, and they, like, piss on it, and then you put up your boundary and they get mad. Like, I feel like that's what this is about. It's very hard to say, though, and it's, like, fucking weird and kind of creepy and just, like, why? Like, who really has that time? What is the month in 8 months? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to take it as less of a death threat and more of a good job then. I like the month of May. Please allow me to live to see it. I would like that very much. You're right. I am a little unprepared. I've been focused on other things, essentially. I'll take the 8 months. What do you mean, talk to them on their behalf? Yeah, this is so weird. This stuff happens on my channel all the fucking time, and quite honestly, I really don't even know. Oh, I feel like I didn't see that happening. I don't know, man. And I get like people like get like triggered or whatever, and like I'm meant to trigger people. I get that, but it's also like in this moment, I did initially be like, oh, is that a death threat? You have 8 months left, but then I realized there's something going on in May that I want to be a part of. So if I have 8 months left, then you're right. It's 8 months to May. Perfect. I have 8 months to figure this out or do this or whatever. Okay? So that's great. It's actually a good sign instead of a threatening one. But of course, the dysphoria is hard to fight. And if you don't know that you have this influence over you, then of course you're going to go with your first gut instinct like we normally do as spiritual people. Right. I align with a more magical tone and a very pure, blissful love energy. Like, if you ever met me, and maybe some people feel it or think they do, but you see the sassy side and you see me get dark as fuck and you see it go boom. It's just one of those things where I can kind of bounce back. And at the end of the day, especially when I'm alone and just doing things that I love, like singing and dancing and being in the sun and drawing or writing or whatever it is, just kind of lollygagging, if you will, wandering about. That's when I'm super much the happiest, and I just radiate so much love. I know how much love I'm radiating, and I'm just like sending it out into everything instead of like focusing on a person or something. And it's very beautiful. And sometimes I do kind of wish that another human being could fully experience exactly what I am putting out in those ways, but it's hard because it's maybe too much for a single person if I am radiating an energy of this like blissful feeling, this powerful light aura, blah blah blah. I don't even know. Am I channeling myself again? I don't know what this means. I see it though. It's like seeing myself in third person, or like doing the things I've always done and being the person I've always been, and then like just being older and knowing more and realizing. I think that is true, but I think we have to admit that if we are getting it, then it's something we've always been and are able to give. And that's where people get tripped up, where it's like you're not a mirror in the sense that you're just parroting and reflecting back to someone. It's like there was a part of you that aligned with this. And so even if you're getting what you give, it's like it goes both ways. Yeah. And I think that's the difference between having empathy and self-awareness versus like complete narcissism. You know what I'm saying? And I've gone into this before, but I don't think it's very common for people to be like total narcissists. And I talked to my therapist extensively about my own narcissism, where I was like, okay, this is it. And she's like, first of all, the fact that you would bring it up at all is a pretty good indication you're not. It's very possible to have narcissistic personality types without being an actual narcissist. If you do something and you can look back and want to do better, that's like, you're not playing victim and making excuses and saying nothing's your fault. So, like, no, you're not a narcissist just because you have narcissistic tendencies or have done things narcissistically. But I think that's the thing. We get these traits because it's the society that we live in and we're bred to be this way. And capitalism encouraging competition just increases the need for self-reliance, which distances from one another and motivates us to be selfish rather than to think of the community, which is how humans are clearly designed to live as communities. But if we were in a community, we wouldn't play group games anymore, blah, 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 blah. It's like, maybe I do only have 8 months. They're like, bro, we are so sick of you running your mouth. You complain about being broke. You say you want to die all the time. I'm like, yeah, but it's the PMDD. And they're like, right. I'm like, right? And they're like, right. I'm like, okay, I get it. I am really giving life my all. And I've been really patient, but I just get to the point where it's like I can see the beauty of everything, and I've experienced it, at least in my head, even through a vision. And I have to be content with that because it may never come. It may never be. It may never be. I was going to say something. It was 111, and it was like, yeah, duh. Like, it may never be that. But, oh well. Like, I have to move on and realize that just being able to experience it, even mentally, or even having come across it at all, has to just be good enough because I can only do so much. You cannot continue to give to a connection that you don't receive from. Sad. Sad. This is your karma. Cool. I already said I was disruptive and apologized and try to make it up to you. And I take the interruptions pretty good. It was like the 7th one in a row where I was like, all right, no more. Fuck. I know. I pretty much wrote Helter Skelter 2012. I can't even think about it sometimes, but I know I gotta address that shit. And I know I'm gonna have to say your fucking name and stuff. I'm trying to be respectful as fuck. It's so hard out here for a pimp. What the fuck? Why did I even say that? Who is that person? God damn. Here's the other thing. The only other scenario, other than like the PMDD literally making me so super duper sassy and tirade and talking like an asshole, real life facts. What do you call DID, or like, you know, the dissociative identity disorder? If you just like don't dissociate. What if you fully consciously slip into different personalities? What do you call that? I've looked into this, and like the whole concept of DID is that you're unconscious. Yeah, but is that a mental illness? Why is DID mental illness, but this is just an alter ego? I've just been curious about that because I could totally see me being afflicted with something like that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow. I did always think of myself as a superhero in a sense because it was the whole Twin Flame storyline. It sounds really ridiculous. I really can't talk about it because I don't talk to this person anymore. And I tried to reach out with being no contact in the best way I knew how, and that was like in art form. And I never heard back, so I have to just eat shit and admit that it sucked and move on with my life. And I quit initially, and I'm never getting any of it. Like I rejected it in the first place. And sometimes, you only live every day, but you die, one time. So I figured I'll give it one last full shot, best I could, or what I got, and got like a B plus, a B minus, B, B average rating. Oh yeah, why the fuck would I be? No, I loved it. It was very, very, very playful. That's how I speak too. We got to be able to be silly and be not mean to each other, but still have fun and playful banter without completely insulting and humiliating one another. And it's very odd that people kind of associate those things with humor at all. And then they get mad when you're like, dude, why do you still think that's funny? And they're like, oh my God, learn to take a joke, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no. Learn why you think that's funny. Yeah, figure out why you just said that. Don't fucking ask me to understand it. You should probably understand it. You should probably figure out where you're coming from. What the fuck did you just say? And why do you think that shit is funny? That's what you gotta ask yourself, Oh, true. I know that was not at you, obviously. But that's why it's like, yeah, we can still talk to each other and say cute, goofy shit. We're not opposed to poking a little fun around here, but like people will say, that's the thing. Before I blocked him, he said a slur and like never really. He's claimed to be from Australia. I don't know, And so I just blocked it. And like, I know I've been guilty of the crime. I come from suburban white America. You have no idea. I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? But you grow out of it, and he's young, whatever, and could be whatever. But I just think I don't want that shit on my fucking line. And I said that, and then they continued to make violent comments where it's like, where did this come from? You've never acted like this on my channel. Is this what they do? They make you fucking comfortable and then they act a fool? I really don't know. It's very odd, isn't it? And then it's like, okay, do we just assume these new random accounts are the same person and block them, or let them watch? So that's my thoughts on trolls. They need it the most. They need it the most. It's like, get another what? It's like I didn't need to say anything or do much I could tell. No, it was just the two. It's just like sitting there. And I'm like, what the fuck is my life? I honestly couldn't tell you. And weed honestly helps calm Tyler Durden's ass down. It really does help me cope with my PMDD a lot. And I smoke way less when I'm not about to fucking bleed out once a month. But it's pretty cool to have it, you know, when I'm feeling on the edge, you know, of like death itself. That sucks. It's hard, and you gotta find your ways. I have several coping mechanisms. Meditation music works really well for me in the sense where I have to have it on like 24/7 for the whole week, and then I'll take a break from it and go back to it throughout the month. Listening to things like tarot readings, or if you prefer podcasts that are just like kind of more uplifting than anything. Yeah, I used to be like that too, where I just wanted to like sit with someone and be like, okay, yeah, ooh, yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. But sometimes you need the reading, you know? That's why I like listening to them when I'm like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to trust. That's like right now. I'm being challenged with the PMDD dysphoria causing paranoia. I've been notoriously known as being paranoid, right? I'm still really into conspiracy theory. I find myself to be like way less than paranoid, but the dysphoria does put a spin on things where like, okay, should I block these accounts that followed me 15 minutes ago? Like, what's the consensus? This is your karma account was made, and then they don't say anything, so it's like, should I just fucking block? Okay, this is my karma. I guess I'm gonna, like, I don't know. Why am I so bad at making decisions? I feel like other times in the month I wouldn't be so bad or not so quick to make a decision. And I guess the irony is that I just wanted to get through this stream and I would unblock them just because I didn't want them interrupting me. Like, they've been cool. People have bad days, but if you're seeking this level of vengeance, I'm confused. Like, it was never that serious. Sometimes you just need to know when to be quiet, and I don't know that much about Twitch. Can you just silence someone in the chat before blocking them? I have no idea. I did what I needed to do. Really? I'll take your advice. I'm blocking them both. That's so weird. I hate raids. Ugh. And then it's just like a bunch of like alt-right weirdos come in and fucking... No. Yeah, fuck that. Should I like be reporting these people? Man, that sucks. It was like a cool person that whatever. You have 8 months left. What, until they hate raid me or something? That's what I figured, and you gotta just keep blocking, and I don't even have fucking mods on my channel. They make things unsafe, and then they're like, wow, you guys really bitch about your safe spaces, and it's like, yep, everything was cool until you pushed somebody's buttons, took things too far, got rejected, and now you're salty about it and want to come at me for it. For what? Why? Like, why? You know? Ask yourself that. That's the whole point of my channel, is to get to know yourself. I don't know what that is. Or you mean two-factor authorization or whatever, yeah. It's turned on. Yeah. Where you have, like, anyone who, yeah. I think you can follow me without, but you can't talk unless you're a verified account. So I'm glad you said that. But yeah, I have a lot of safety features where it's like I want people to feel welcome, but I don't fuck around either. Thank you. Thank you. There's measures we can take to make it a more sacred space, right? Oh. God. I can't imagine like having such little life that I would want to do that to someone. I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad I didn't go to bed right after that. Ugh, so they're just like trying to get people out of here. It's just really this so weird. That's why honestly I don't even want to be on the internet anymore. It's just like I at the point in time where like I had my accident, um I just had to like I don't know, I had to be sitting and healing from the injuries that I got. And um what is I don't have a safe space tag. I'll look at mine. These are like so fucking random. I just like didn't even know what to choose on here. I feel like they're cool. No, that's good. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not that advanced on Twitch and they know that. I feel like I have good people on here, but I mean, he was showing some red flags this week, but it was like really inconsistent. Yeah. That's so weird. It's like the feigning friendship and then turning on them when they cross a boundary. It's very sad to me where it's like, why are you trying to hurt my feelings? Like, be honest. Why are you trying to hurt my feelings? It does hurt my feelings. Is that what you want to hear? That's what's so crazy to me. It's like sad, you know? Yeah. And we're trying to like help people work that out. So it's like, why are you ruining my funk, dude? Why? You know? And I know that some people have perceived me that way, and I've done that to people, and it's like, well, I've grown up now, I'm trying to make up for it, and of course I have to deal with it. But I guess it's like, I see how I dealt with it. Once I crossed that boundary, it's a block for me, not a chase you down and follow kind of thing. So made it seem a little more mutual than just regular troll. It's a false, you know? Yeah, it's sad. Um, it's like ruining a good thing, I guess. And it's just like, I don't know, a lot of people trying to ruin good things, and we're just trying to get good things going. Makes me real fucking sad. Makes me want to give up. And that's how I feel every month with PMDD anyways. And then they bully you on top of it. And it's like, why are you kicking me while I am down? You're mad that you're not a woman, and yet here we are, going through the motions right in front of you. You have no sympathy, you have no empathy, you have no idea what it's like. And then you bitch about how easy our lives are because I don't really actually know why. Can you please explain it? Because you all decided amongst yourselves the way that society would be and the way that you would treat each other and the way that your relationships would be, and then blame us for you being underdeveloped, held back because you decided to not listen to anybody but each other. Okay, I'm gonna play an ad before it auto rolls. That's why I stay on my 20-minute intervals, and I missed this one because I'm engaged in this conversation.
Hi. See, and I was like really preparing all week to tell the story about what happened, and now I just like hid the videos, and I feel like it's not even the safe space that I thought I was creating. The person who's like the problem tonight, who's still like, now you have the floor, what do you fucking want? Was someone who was really hyping me up for the past 2 months, and that's why it hurts because it's like, wow, I was, I guess, dumb enough to believe that I could be awesome like you said I was, and you hype me up, hype me up, hype me up just to like act like that, disrespect me, ignore my boundaries, and then harass me on top of it. Like, kind of sucks. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, it's like, dude, we all have been like, it was like a group of people. He's on my channel every night. Who has time to just like hate someone that much? What is that about? Like, I thought he was genuinely cool. It's weird how people will just switch, and it's like you were just waiting to say this stuff. That's what I figured, and we talk about it where it's like he'll just, I don't want to even, it's left me with a weird feeling about Twitch where it's like, damn, dude, everybody warned me, and it's like, well, don't curse that on my channel. No, 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 for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. I don't even watch anybody on here, to be honest. But I don't trust like TikTok readers. So I don't even know if I should talk about it. I almost fucking died, and that was the point. Is I was like talking about like what I was seeing and what was happening, and it felt very important to discuss it. And then I just was like regretting the decision. And it's like, is that the lesson I was supposed to realize? Is sometimes it's divine intervention, or is this PMDD, premenstrual dysphoria, affecting my decision making and not knowing if I should move forward? And having held back so many times, destroyed and regretted destroying things during this dysphoric part where it's like you should probably keep going is the point. And I even took a pause and listened to a tarot reading, and I saw the title that said keep going, and it's like the one who was on autoplay, and I was like, okay, that seems like right, but I needed to get back in a comfortable space, and I really appreciate you talking to me and talking me through this, because these are like the little moments that are sort of like they represent trauma in a way where it's not super traumatic, but it sucks. Um, Amen. Amen. And it's like maybe Twitch doesn't have the right to hear it, but also like it's been 3 years and I'm almost ready to just be done with it, and I make no sense of it, and no one's helping me make sense of it. So, well, I mean, what do I even do? And like I said, I've tried to just go the other route of like, let me get help for the PMDD instead of the spiritual or psychic stuff. And it's like, oh, that I've been rejected. Back to this shit. Focus on myself, King. Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? I'm doing everything by myself except for like paying my bills. Then I have a whole community of people literally keeping me alive, right? Like, and why even admit to being in a vulnerable position in that sense, other than I feel so much more power and security outside of finances and money. It's bizarre to me that so many people could be driven by it in the first place, or that society has become so integral on it at all. Though I do try to speak abundance into my life, it's very hard for me to resonate with money, no matter how you say it's an energetic connection, and that's something that a block that I'm trying to unblock, and that's why I'm trying to share my experience to show the value in my work, because I do think that the excessive harassment should end. I kind of do have a tendency to just deal with it. It's very rare I block people or get to the point where they feel they need to be blocked, but it happens a lot faster on Twitch, you know? Fuck yeah, I really appreciate it. It was super fucking serendipitous, and you are definitely dope as fuck too. I was just like, it's like I was sitting there talking about my traumas, and then people are trying to trigger me, and it's like, why would you do that? Because you literally want to see it. People get curious. They want to see it. They want to see the reaction. They want to see me freak out, and I refuse to do it for anyone but myself. If I need to freak the fuck out sometimes, and I need to freak the fuck out sometimes, I like to keep people out of it. You know. Um, but I have a community that loves me regardless of haters, you know, and some of the greatest people who have ever lived have come from places in which there was a lot of hatred, a lot of doubt, a lot of exile, and a lot of hard times. That's the thing, bro. I don't want to hide the stream I did just because of the person that was on there. It's like, do I let everyone witness what happened between? Like, it's so crazy. It's just like, there was some good shit. I was talking about Catholicism for a fucking minute. It was pretty good. It was like twin flame journey and also my own experience, but it was like I got drugged and stuff. Yeah, and it's weird because like I don't mind theatrics. I don't like a little drama, but like I'm not trying to get caught up in your like weirdo soap opera. You're making shit up. Just like there's enough storylines going on IRL. Why are you lying and like creating situations that are completely unnecessary to the plot? We have like a good thing going on. We've got good storylines. We've got good, you know. Oh, I guess we needed a fucking enemy. Thanks. I really prefer the enemies to lovers pipeline. Those are the only pipelines I like because fuck America. Fucking pipelines through native lands where they were like, you have to stay right here. These are your reservations. We reserved it for you. This is where you fucking belong. And they're like, hey, by the way, we're gonna come through here, put a fucking giant pipe because we just found this like oil. Is that cool? No. The fuck? No? And they're like, oh damn, it sucks. It's not cool because we're gonna do it anyway. Pipelines fucking suck. But the literary enemies to lovers pipeline and or trope is a preferred of mine. So if you want to be my enemy, you better learn to love me because I'll probably try to kiss you or something. And that's like the biggest threat of all because they're like, what? She likes me. You're a troll? I'm Lols. Yeah, yeah. We bark back, ducky. Like, what the fuck? People are really immature and they think that I'm the immature one for what I look like or do for a job. I do follow you. I love how even though I blocked the accounts, it still has the little notifications right there. It's just like, okay, cool. I guess I'll be ready by May. That's the thing. I love that do you use YouTube Music? Because I've had an account with them since like 2016 or 15 when they put it out, and I've been in love ever since. Oh my god, it must have been 2014 or 15. Because I was using that shit when I was working at the bar in 2015. So like, yeah, I've had an account with them for a long time. I love their music app. I feel like I'm a little bit chilly. Probably get something warmer on my next break. I honestly am having a great day. I really am. I'm having a decent fucking premenstrual dysphoria hour. Really, truly holding it together. The real consensus is like, do I share the stream so that like no one person can hold it against me, that they witnessed it and no one else did? That's what I'm debating on. I ended it very, like, it was bad. I hated everything that happened at the end. But is it worth reposting it? I like lo-fi stuff, and so does my partner. I know, but in the moment it felt right, and I was like, yo, did I say too much about the twin flame connection that I've been referring to over the course of the last few weeks, but only because it's been unfolding before me. And I've been trying to heal the connection regardless of the results, regardless if it's one-sided. I have to at least try and let it be known that I do feel bad and I do recognize my mistakes. I do recognize the severity of the energy or situation, and I also can recognize that I know when to let it go, but also I do need to speak my piece on the matter, right? Just because there was so many
things that like came up over the last 10 years where it's like, yeah, no, it just all does kind of lead back to the same situation. And it's very hard to figure out. Like I've tried so many different ways of healing it and nothing works, so I'm just saying it out loud and wrote it down and put it in a song or something, trying to create from it, but also address it instead of being mysterious and cryptic like I normally am. Like I'm trying to be more straightforward. And of course, I try to go to the people I want to make up to directly, but some people are more into the action and the art of it than they are in the words and whatnot. But yes, I'm ready because I do not know where my magic 8 ball is right now, and that has always been a pretty handy message. Immediately I said yes. Literally mentally, I am there already. It's horrible. I hate it because it's not mine. It never was mine, and even if it was ever going to be mine, I lost that opportunity a long time ago. And it was my own fault and my own actions, doings, and ignorant, uneducated self that did that, that lost it, you know? And it's like I didn't need to say anything or do much. I could tell when you smile. Yeah, singing really brings me peace. I love that. When you said if it brings you peace, just do it or whatever, I just immediately was like, I should sing some fucking love song that I like. All of the subatomic pieces come together and unfold themselves in a second. Yeah, it's super dope. I don't know why I said super dope. Who the fuck even says that? I don't. It's so weird. Sometimes I'm on stream and I'm like, oh, thank you. You're cute too, even if I don't know who you are. Do you stream? I should go watch your videos or catch your stream. I'm really bad at being live. I know because I knew that that's what I was meant to do since I was literally born. When I was in preschool, when they'd be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And like most kids were like, an astronaut, a doctor, a mom, like a dog or something, a candy maker. I was like, artist for sure. 3 years old, my first year of preschool, because I did 2 years of preschool and then kindergarten. And they asked, and I drew me with a little beret and an easel. I was like, I want to be an artist. And like, damn, that's pretty good. You probably are an artist. And it took me like up until like, I don't know, just the past couple of years to realize I guess I am an artist, if like I have literally been since day one, since I came out of the womb. And it's just been like a humbled experience because of Jesus Christ. I love you. Yes, I do. Should we talk to Anne Frank? Oh. It's not that it would be cool and it would feel invasive because she was only 13. But I was just singing Jeff Mangum and I need my list. I am taking requests, I told you, for the month. Frida Kahlo? Yes. Yes. Thank you. I love that suggestion. I don't know how I'm going to decide what order we're going to go in. I think I'm starting with John Lennon. I'm going to try to do people's birthdays, but there's going to be inevitable days. Not birthdays necessarily, but I was thinking about how like Nico's birthday is sometime in October. So she'll be early in the month. So I guess doing Libras first is what I meant to say. So, yeah. So anyone else? What? What? It probably does work like that. Oh, in a way, listen, you might just be a daughter of Frida. Or Freya, really. The goddess Freya, who is most likely a human form, Frida Kahlo. You could be getting her soon. She'd probably come on Friday. It is Friday, but not really in our time zone anymore. Oh my god, and I'm going on with the accent and everything. You are definitely a daughter of Freya, just like Frida Kahlo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully next Friday. We'll pick next Friday because that was unexpected. Um, she jumped to that one. I almost feel like I should just derail whatever the fuck I was doing and focus on the Frida Kahlo reading because technically it is now October 1st, even if I started the stream. Should we do a Frida Kahlo? I don't know. It feels like the whole reason I'm making a list and doing one every day for the month of October is because it's so easy. Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, her little like heart thing. I know it's like a pretty famous painting, but the connecting organs. It was like the first time I saw something kind of macabre in art class, in like elementary school. That was like, oh, that is kind of not my thing necessarily, but I guess I've just never seen anything like it. And I just have always liked her in that way. Um, yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I've seen her portrait with the monkey too, right? That's so interesting. I would love, yeah. So the reason I'm trying to schedule it is because I want to actually dedicate the whole night to whoever's reading I'm doing and let people know in advance when I'm doing them. Because it's like we could technically do Q&As if we wanted to, but people just need to stay like focused on it. And they're not super apt to tuning in to my channel messages when it comes to the Halloween Oracle and doing deceased readings. But if I'm doing them for a month straight, then they'll have no choice. You know? So. What if they're trying to bully me into not going public? And that's why I immediately made the fucking video invisible. And they were like, ha, we got her. Now we're going to be like, yo, boom, thread, blah, blah, because alien. Okay, it's like getting into the art zone. Van Gogh's giving silence to me right now. Nope. And then that's literally saw that coming. He was like, probably not ready. Maybe next year. I think he'd rather see how this goes than no. It's okay. It's okay. It was just like some people I instantly connect with, or I know they'll be. But he was very temperamental. Did he speak with a whistle? Did he have like a small gap between his teeth? I've never seen him smiling. Um, Cause I literally, I don't know if you heard it. I just whistled. He might be okay with it if he was, towards the end of the month. Maybe when is his birthday? Um, it's pretty accurate. He said. That's why it's like life was miserable. And I would hate to even for me, someone like me who so close to being in the same position, right? I'll put him on the list. It seems like we can get him to crack. He just immediately was like silence, like okay. But we'll put him on the list. Okay. Because yeah, I wanted to have the whole list completed by um, October 1st, and now it's October 1st, so I put it on Instagram. I'll give people like 6 more hours, and then we'll just take anybody. Yeah, exactly. And I don't like to choose them. A lot of people come to me. So I added a few to the list. I added most of the list, I feel like, because I wasn't getting suggestions at first. And I would just pick whoever came to my mind or some people that I've just talked to before that we've talked about talking to. Oh, yeah, like Alan Watts. I keep mentioning him and I keep seeing him and he's very jovial. Who is that? I gotta look it up. Oh, I gotta do my ad. I'm 5 minutes off my ad breaks. Hold on. I'm gonna look at. Oh, no, I don't know if I want to do that. Let me look it up. Okay, I'll be honest. I looked him up. He screams colonizer. He'd come on there and be like, I'm a fraud. It'd be like, what? No way. And it's like, yeah, do your own math. Spirituality, culturally, historically, comes from what groups? Spoiler alert, it's not the white men who steal it from everyone else via anthropology or colonization or whatever the fuck. But in looking him up, I found Baba Vanga, and I put her on my list instead. No offense. Yeah, I don't know. It's like he learned everything he learned from someone. He stole his magic from somebody. It's colonizer vibes all day. Yeah. That's weird. That's because it was a curse. I just saw his picture and was like, like this guy. I also am very mixed feelings about Marilyn Monroe. I've contemplated. No, no, no. Okay, no, you're right. I don't know him. I just saw this, and like that was the first thing was he said I'm a fraud. Um, but maybe it's more like the fact that that's not how you should be doing magic or serving magic is from that perspective. But Marilyn Monroe is another one in particular where like her peace was so disturbed in life, but also like I would be very curious to talk to her. She's an Aquarius moon like me. She's Gemini sun. She's beautiful. She's an icon. But I feel like, well, in a way, people who didn't get to speak their piece in life sometimes do appreciate that opportunity to speak their piece in death. So if you are saying Marilyn Monroe, and I was thinking about her this past week when I was trying to think of who would be kind of like, I feel like I might put her on the list. Nope, absolutely never. Sorry, I don't do pedos. You can't be like an out pedophile. I know, like a known pedo. I'm not gonna sit there and talk to you. Absolutely not. He has shown up before, privately, not during a reading, and he's like, it's like mixed feelings because people change in death, and I realize that, and I've forgiven some people, but it's like I just refuse to connect with it. I just creeps me out. I don't like him. Not to mention, like lying about his sexual identity to sell records during a time of like the AIDS crisis. Jesus fuck. Like, I just really, yeah, no, I can't. Um, so well. Ooh. Um, but that's okay. Everybody's got their own thing, and not everybody. And some people can separate the art from the artist, but I just oh yeah. I mean, some of them were good. I added Marilyn Monroe and Frida Kahlo and Van Gogh. I just like to hear them out briefly before I commit to a full reading, and it's like, okay, yes, this one will crack. This one's you're not gonna like it. That one I won't do, and this one I think mutually we'll ease into like the Marilyn Monroe and do it a little later in the month so it's more comfortable. Yeah, yeah. I have boundaries more than preference, because I did have a time where I liked David Bowie, and it was just one of those things where once you realize that a lot of his songs were written about the 14-year-old girl he was banging at the age of 28, it's like kind of loses its luster, you know? Yeah, yeah. That's why it's like I'm not gonna sit here and talk to Hitler either, you know. Not that that's the same thing at all, but it's the same like gotta have like boundaries with it. Where I guess I talk to demons or I talk to Satan, which would be ultimate responsibility, I suppose. But I guess entities and human beings are different, and I think during a time that truth is so important, it's almost like we have to stop giving abusers platforms, and I will not partake in giving the platform. You know what I mean? And that's why it was like John Lennon was like a no-go for me, dog, but he came down from the heavens and was like, can we please talk? I understand I was an asshole and I know you hate me, and I was meant to teach you things about yourself, and now you can learn to hate yourself, but now you learn to love yourself. It was a lot. And he's like, I know I was pretty bad, but I wasn't that bad. And it was like, honestly, true. I think I can hear you out. And that's why my limitations are pretty much like, you know, pedophilia, genocide. Like, can't think of anything else. Just alt-rights thinking in general. And even then, I put Aleister Crowley on my list. He was pretty alt-right, wasn't he? So I try to be flexible and do what the people want. But yeah, there's just like slight limitations. And I mean, I might get a few more suggestions from Instagram today. I posted it like later in the evening last night. That I opened it for suggestions, but I was like taking the Twitch suggestions first, just because I stream on here and I don't even stream on Instagram anymore. Although I may go back to it, it seems less trolls and more people I know. And it's like there's the desire to grow a channel or grow a following just for like financial reasons, but there's also such an unappeal to it for me because of things like this, where it's like, gosh, I'm just trying to help others and speak my truth in a way that is not necessarily valued, but can be discussed or appreciated in some capacity or in some vein. And that in itself is something I struggle with, is the thought of how it could be potentially like, I don't want to call it selfish, but that narcissism that appears as traits more than as personality disorders, right? Where it can be like, why are you forcing anyone to listen to you? I'm not. It's voluntary, right? I love how I still have this tag, but I'm not really telling the story anymore. And it's very hard to, like I said, it's hard for me to gauge whether or not I can keep going, move forward, or if I'm supposed to bow out and hide it or whatever and regret what I did. And, but I've made that mistake before and regretted that. So by the time I'm done with the stream, I'll probably unhide the other videos, but I maybe said too much, so maybe I should let people watch this one and then release the old ones. But some people were tuned in and were looking forward to coming back and watching it, and so I don't want to leave them hanging. But it's such a wild time. I am just, I guess, always shaken up. I feel like I should kind of just get off, but I feel it was an unproductive, unfinished night for me, and I feel very almost listless about it, and almost directionless, where I feel like if I got off the stream, I'd kind of be in a headspace of just feeling weird and replaying the night. And so it's like that Twilight Zone, really, where it's like, what do you do when it's almost dawn? And you, yeah. And it's especially and almost specifically with the premenstrual dysphoria, where it's like, I have a hard time sleeping. Like I said, I will just roll around writhing in fucking discomfort like the days before my period starts. So it's not cramp discomfort, blood discomfort. It's a different kind of discomfort where it's like I can't get my mind to stop and I'm having intrusive thoughts and evil feelings and like terrible things going on with me. And I just want to sleep. I hate thinking about any of it. I'm triggering myself with my own fucking head. And I know that if I get off stream, I'm just going to do that because that's where I'm at in my cycle. No matter how much I curb it, no matter how much I don't talk about it, no matter how much I ignore my calendar, I still know the effects. And that's why I'm still able to even discuss anything at this hour because I just like, it's so hard to sleep that I have to completely exhaust myself, run myself into the ground, and burn my brain out in order for me to get rest when I am like this. And that's why bar life always kind of suited me, but once the cramps hit, it's not so suitable because it's like, I want to fight you, not fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. I don't care how much money you have. I will beat your motherfucking ass, bro, because this is Tyler Durden and they really should have hired me to be a bouncer. And it's like, whoa. Just thought you were cute. Sorry. I'm going to get my drink from the other bartender next time. Like, that's right. And then next week, it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hi. I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Rough night. What do you want though? You know, like, whiplash. But the hours, love it. Love the midnight hours. I'm a creature of the night. And some days I like to just sleep and wake up early and have mornings. But like, I was up at this time because I had woken up at this time the other day. And at this point, I've stayed up until this time. And I was so less functional when I woke up and was awake in the morning versus like me having stayed up all night and now it's morning and I am still fairly cognizant because my PMD brain is just, my whole body isn't completely 100 during this week, you know, so it happens. And then it's like, yeah, so I'm sharing my story, not necessarily just to be vulnerable, but I would like people to feel more comfortable with themselves and to open up more to one another and not necessarily publicly all the time. Like, not everyone is meant to do that. And I think that because I have just always have a pattern of like ending up, you know, writing a book. It was terrible and pretty much wrote Helter Skelter for the modern era. It was terrible. But like if I can do that, then I can do this. And I just think that I really am helping people find their way, and it's not a perfect path. It never has been, it never will be. And I can have so much confidence in something, in a dream, in my hopes, in my reality, in my work, in my partnerships, in my, you know, anything, my whole being, and still have doubts. I think we all do. And I think that the less physical the results of the work we put into something are, the harder it is to appreciate the results we've gotten and the progress we've made and the journey we're on. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you might not get the outcome you wanted, but you learned a lot, you grew a lot, you did a lot. It was cool, I guess, and now it's over, and that's okay. You know? So, it makes not being your own boss very difficult to be in this kind of state. And, you know, sometimes it's so funny. I just consider it to be that so Raven effect where I feel like I've seen the future and I've seen visions and I like go to a place when I picture something. You said, what brings you peace? It's like this whole thing. But, you know, it's like, it's not trying to manifest another person. It's like, strange and specific destiny, call, mission, purpose, prize even.
of like, I don't know where I got this idea from, but it just came to me one day and I thought I should share it with you of all people. And it was like, oh, that's so interesting. It kind of does go along with everything I was saying, doesn't it? That's really weird. Can I have more of that? Yeah, sure. I don't even know why you really want it. We don't even talk. You know, like, it's bizarre. Um, and it's just like years later you realize, okay, it's maybe isn't what I thought it was, but it definitely wasn't not what I definitely didn't think it was. The fuck? Ad break. Yeah. I'm debating on all of it now. You know how it is. The premenstrual fucking dysphoria is whack as fuck. I'm my biggest fucking hater. Don't even test it, trolls. I literally hate myself, okay? Like, you can't hate me any more than I hate me, bro. How do you think we got here? How do you think we invented Fuckboy Academy? Fuck. Thank you. Okay. That's crazy that it's that late. I had no idea where you were. It's so funny that this warning is up there because it's like, where's the juice? The worst it got was the fucking blood clots, dude. This wasn't the right story. We're debating. Maybe it's just a little piece every day throughout October while I do my dead people readings, and we'll just keep this up, but I'll change it to incorporate the deceased. I should probably go too because if you go, what's the point? There's just like five people trying to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about, or just trolls trying to gain knowledge or something. I don't know. They're like mad that I remind them of Joe Rogan and then they think they're gay for liking me and not him. So, okay. Okay. So, yeah, I think we should go to sleep. Except I don't know if I can. Um Me too. Me too. Let's go let our uteruses kick our ass and rip off the dicks of men. I'm kidding. It's not a fucking threat. It's a joke. It's a joke, you know? Good night, Scorpio Queen. And I do have a Discord, and I feel like this is about to get out of control if I even put the link here or something. Goddamn. Yeah. And then it's like, who do I trust when I thought I could trust the person who hoed me out? Yeah, it happens every time, doesn't it? Karmics, what do you know? Perhaps we will tell more of this story. Perhaps I'll come back on here if I can sleep. I'm very undecided of my own evening. We didn't draw any cards. It was probably meant to be that way. Maybe I'll unblock the videos because it was pretty funny. I feel like, what? Yo, what? I thought you were going to sleep. I didn't even realize you're still here. Want to do a trade? I've been needing one and I've been offering trades to other readers and I've gotten no one to take me up on the offer. It's like you're not supposed to trust people offering a reading, but like I do want one and like this is all pretty intense stuff. And like, yeah, it's about to be October. That's my sacred month. And I won't say untouchable. However, when the dead rises, it's very hard to argue with her. Okay? That's like, it's Persephone time of year. And women with PMDD are daughters of Persephone. We made a different deal. We spent half the month instead of half the year. Descendant into the underworld. That's what the bloodshed is for. So, you can message me if you want to. Was that Discord? I can't figure out where that beeping has come from. I feel like it's Discord. Oh, cool. Yay. Got some ladies in our chat. Some ladies in our chat. Oh, man. Discord is fun. Oh, love y'all. I'm gonna try to stream earlier in the evening. Thank you for being you and here with me. They have no idea I just sang that. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, yeah. That's what I was like. Okay. I'll get to the message after the stream. I might actually stay on here, so get to bed, my queen. I don't know what the fuck. My mind is everywhere now. It's like, things didn't go as planned, but of course they never do with PMDD. I probably will just go. It's not like boring, but I will be bored without you. I'm not doing tarot. I'm not telling this story anymore. I know, me too. I'm gonna sit here and be like this, and you're gonna lay there and be like this, and we're gonna be staring at each other's souls in a way, but like, we won't have words to say. And it's like, this is when you need that like IRL, just like human. And I think that's why there's a sleeping category on here. I think it's too much for me personally, but I get why they have that option is for this scenario. You don't necessarily want to fucking do anything. Hey, how about this? How about I read a bedtime story and then we all go to sleep? It's like, wait, you bitches aren't going to sleep? When did I start using bitches again? I literally cut it from my vocabulary in the past few years, and I've been really proud of myself. And since I've been on Twitch, I've been saying it more. It's so weird. Yes, it's the PMDD where it's like I have pretty good control of my thoughts. I can usually fall asleep to meditation music, but there are times where it's like my brain knows the moment I lay down, I'm going to wake up jerking in pain because I have a fucking nightmare of an intrusive thought flash in my mind while I'm trying to fall asleep. So then I just have racing thoughts and I'm trying to fight the feeling and blah, 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 fuckity bye. It's fucking awful. It is awful. Okay, so I already, what? Tell me, I love, especially like period related realizations. Yes, dude, yes, bro. Listen, I'm an intense dreamer. I have to, dude, I talked about my dreams. There's no way. I'm sorry. I have to post those videos. There's no way someone's going to bully me, especially like, why do you get to see it and no one else does? No way. Not happening. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good content. The reason the story wasn't finished is because we talked about a lot of really great topics. It was all precursor. I am going to slow roll this until November. It is a lot of information. I don't care. I love it. I don't care. Okay. Yeah. So I go into detail in one of the other streams. I can't remember which video it is.
But when it comes to the dreams, I've always had very intense, vivid dreams. I've been able to like liquid and lucid dreams since I was in elementary school. And I go into the difference because it's like, what's a liquid dream? And it's like almost lucid, but not quite. So I go into detail about that. And I also think that our cycles begin before our periods start because our bodies are already on that algorithm or that circadian rhythm, even. And, you know, from day one, even before we're fully developed, our eggs are a part of our genetic coding. And so they are present in the sense of when we are an embryo, we are a whole line of embryos, right? So, or ova that have egg, like the eggs are there. So who is to say that this cycle doesn't predate the first period when like our bodies are growing into the cycle that it's going to be on? You know what I mean? So I think that yes, we probably were going through the phases of our cycle before we started, as they were growing and and becoming what it was going to become. That's what I was starting to reflect on. Because, yeah, even as a kid, I would have these really intense, reoccurring nightmares and paranoid thoughts. And I couldn't blame it on PMDD, but now it's very clearly PMDD. So then it started to make me wonder maybe we know even less about women's health and bodies or assigned female at birth, really. I typically say people when I talk about these issues, but sometimes when you're talking to a bunch of fucking weirdo men on the internet, you just have to be fucking blunt and use their own terminology and still apologize to your community that you hardly yourself identify as a woman. But sometimes it's easier than arguing with them. We're okay. We're in this together, right? Okay. Okay. Doing the damn thing. Okay. So, needless to say, it's all needful to say. Needing to say, needing to say. We're no longer saying needless to say. We are needing to say things. We are not needless to say. It's needed to be said. Okay? That's the energy we're coming in with. So, um, yeah, I noticed that even though I always have dreams, they're typically more enjoyable during different parts of my cycle. And part of what makes it hard to fall asleep is the intrusive violent thoughts and like the flashback memories. And like literally, the moment I lay down for some reason, it's like these intense, painful flashes of like either past nightmares I've had, um, like I said, vivid, violent, like ideations and stuff and like flashbacks to like repressed memories will come up and it's just like horrible. So if I'm feeling that way and I that happens sometimes, I'll have a full-blown panic attack, I have to calm myself back down, take fucking allergy meds or like too many Tylenol where I can't even take Tylenol anymore. It just doesn't work anymore. You know, I like relied on it for 3 or 4 months in a row for my period only, not like consistently throughout the month, but for my periods. And after 4 months, it's like Tylenol no longer has an effect on me. So that's awesome. Um, Claritin or my antihistamines were working, but then when I started having to double up, it was like these might not be working either. So anything that they treat it with, yep, anything that they treat it with is temporary. It works for a little while. You get like 3 months usually, maybe 3 years if you're lucky, and then eventually it wears off and stops working. Why is that? Why is every man made solution impossible to treat this fucking situation that is affected by 50% of the population, bro? How do you still not know what's going on? And that's what makes me feel like it is a little bit extraterrestrial. Like, where the abductees that they're experimenting with, you know, where it's like, yeah, that would make sense because no human remedies that work for every other scenario with the same fucking symptoms seems to work for us. Not the mental solutions, the physical solutions. Like, what is that then? Why do none of your human ways work? You know? And it's like I've really had to ask myself that, and it wasn't like I said until I told people about that situation I was in 19, November 2018, that they said aliens, and I was like, man, you had to make me really sit and consider that, because when they literally don't have an explanation, and I've communicated with thousands of other women at this point, or people assigned female at birth, womb carriers is my preferred method because it's the easiest to specify what we're talking about, the whole uterus area. Puntas, really, but it's offensive nowadays because British colonizers at the end of it, and the beginning, really. It's okay, let the haters hate. So, yeah, um, primo shit, really. Primo shit. I don't know why I've used the word primo so many times tonight. Um, it's so funny hating on the Catholics. It's like I saw these visions where it was like I had these hallucinations that like the mob was after me, and like I'm Italian, but I was like, I don't think I did anything. I don't know any of my family doing anything. It was like really weird paranoia in this month where like I was possibly drugged and like had this month-long experience. And it's just so like interesting to see how easily these things could become true when I have these radical stances and take to the camera or something and offend people. But it's like the point isn't to be offended, but it's like, if you don't see these things, why am I showing you? You have to like ask yourself, I'm here to heal, you know? If I'm triggering you, then you have to realize that you're being triggered, instead of silencing me so that I stop triggering people. The whole point is to wake you up. And I love you. I love all of it. Like, I don't shit on Catholicism when I say it's basically ritual witchcraft, fucking witches who hid under the Christian category. I say that with love. I say that with pride. I'm a confirmed Catholic. Why? Why, do you ask? Of course, I went to church, poured my whole life into it. Like, I mean, yeah, of course I was supposed to find the church. How are you going to burn the witch when you're the one who raised her? I'm your savior, you know? Like, that's the whole fucking story. Don't fall for your own shit twice, right? Like, come on, come on. That's like the whole point. I did not compare myself to Jesus, but my ear went off, and they're like, all right, maybe we'll chill on her. I feel like I had to make the side note about the Catholic stuff, where that was part of the reason I was supposed to hide the video in a way, but I think they're coming around to seeing that like sometimes modernism is the only answer for survival, is the thing. I think a lot of us need to realize that, and I think that we see it in our everyday lives. I'm gonna play the ad before I get too distracted, and we went from like PMDD to capitalism so fast. And I think we were talking about religion in between, and this all happened in 30 seconds. Welcome to my stream. Okay, yeah, it's funny because literally during the ad break, I was like, man, I should just go to bed. Like, I want to go to sleep. I'm not trying to hold you up. Go to sleep, girl. I'm wrapping my thing up. Me too. Um, um, I want to sleep. I want to lay down. I want to relax. I want to unwind. You are the best. You all like That's why I was so hurt by what happened this evening, because that person was important to me on my stream. Like I really liked them, and it just like went badly. It was sad. So same. Like it's the connecting in the way of the womb is like none else, and it's so intense. And I can't wait to unfold this journey of these visions I've had with you as someone who understands having PMDD, because it is fucking intense. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a bumpy ride, gonna be a bumpy ride. It already has been. It is day 1 of Halloween. Okay, happy October, everybody. I think I'm gonna try. You know what it is? I think I'm gonna switch to Discord. If anybody is watching this and you want to join the chat, you totally can. Yeah, I'm not necessarily ready to be done talking. I'm ready to be done streaming. I'm not necessarily going to be able to sleep. I might still have things on my mind. I'm going to take it to Discord. If anybody has questions, like legitimately, if you're trolling me or not, like I don't really know what people want from me at the end of the day. So just be honest, do your best, and try to have a vulnerable, honest moment with you and me. Okay? So join me in the Discord if you want to. I will be back every day this month, including later today, tomorrow, and all of them. And if I miss a day, we're going to double up because, ladies and gents, theys and thems, it is officially Halloween. And we will be back with the Halloween Oracle. So, thank you for tuning in. Come back for the next. Good night and good luck.